Anyway, I'm Nick, this is Harry. We're off to a cracking start. We're going to tell you our story today. Don't think for a second, I know it's a room full of very important people and you've all got big jobs, but don't think for a second that you can't make a change, because Harry and I and Joss and his brother Archie have set off on this mission to chase 100%. Most recycled products, sadly, the legal requirement is 20%, which means 80% is probably virgin plastic or a bonding agent, and that's not good enough. So we set off as a family to try and do something that was 100%, and we dared. And the theme of today is about daring to build a better world, and this is our story.
This is the management team. It consists of a recipe of a dad, a mum, a Harry, and a concerning brother.
How many people here are on a management team? Put your hand up. Yeah, gets crazy, eh? Ours is pretty crazy because this group of 4 people own 25% of the idea and have 25% say. So Harry and his brother they can't override me, but they can try and talk mum round, which is pretty funny, and it often happens.
On our journey, we never set out to make sunglasses. We set out to help untrash the planet. So,
through really simple words, people are distracted. People never give the time to things. They're always on their phone. We just set up a really, really simple purpose, which was to untrash the planet. 3 simple words that guide us, that keep us on the straight and narrow. And if we're trashing the world, we stop. If we're untrashing it, we continue. It's so simple, but it's really engaging. And this is our purpose.
We recycle plastic bottles, 600 ml, into 100% recycled eyewear frames. As you can see here, this is the cycle that it goes through. It gets blended up into cornflakes and then made into rice.
And then into a pair of sunnies. Looks simple, but that's a lot of work.
We have 3 classic styles, and we now do sunglasses and readers. We have changed a few of the designs from the starters.
Yeah, we have. And we don't want to do fast fashion, so we picked the styles that are kind of classic, right? They've stood the test of time. The fast fashion game's nuts. What's in and out? It drives me crazy when I look at big brands doing, 40 drops a season. Like, we don't need that, so we just stick to the classics. So this is a slide that we're super proud of. Everything here had a previous life. So we took it from the waste stream and we turned it into something else. So our cardboard is 100% recycled. Harry and I argue a little bit because there's a little cross next to the case. There's a small piece of white cotton that's 4 centimeters long. That is not recycled. But so we kind of debate this. But for the purpose of today, we're 100% recycled because 2.5 bottles made that case. 7.5 bottles we basically give and find a new home, and we prevent 10 kilos of CO2 from going to the atmosphere thanks to C2Zero, who are also removing your 68 kilos today, an amazing organisation. And Roger's over there at table 17. He's going to hate it if I'm pointing him out, but you must talk to him. He's a very honest guy in a very unhonest environment when it comes to these things. But this took 18 months to work out a supply chain, right? Shouldn't take 18 months. We didn't just jump onto Alibaba. Don't sue me, Alibaba. But we didn't just jump onto Alibaba. We wanted to find local suppliers that could make things locally, where we literally sat there and drew a circle around our home and went, if we can do everything, hopefully within an hour, we can hop in the car after school and go and have a chat to the factories. So we're different for many reasons, but we're modular. Most sunglasses, eyewear breaks at the hinge. This was a daring moment. We wanted to be different, and we basically created our own hinge, which took 18 months, didn't it, Harry? It was an absolute nightmare. And essentially, if you break the glasses, there's only 5 components. Most other eyewear brands have about 20 components. You've got screws, you've got nose pads, you've got metal inners, you've got hinges. So if you break any part, often involving alcohol, our warranty covers it, and we'll make you a new part, and we will just post it to you. So it's a little bit, remember when I built your bunk beds from IKEA, I was swearing a lot, and everyone in the street was kind of avoiding our house. We're like IKEA, but you don't swear because it's easy. You can swap them out in seconds. So this was the moment, and Mum's so upset that we're showing this picture because the kitchen's a tip in the background.
And my brother, an idiot, look, if you look at his head, he kind of cut off his fringe at school.
Yeah, he just removed his fringe, but...
All his friends are doing it, and then he was like, I want to do it.
Can you tell everybody what is going on in this situation? What are you talking to me about?
I'm talking to my dad. Well, we've just had dinner, and on the way home from school, we've just been taught about like the plastic problem and how our oceans and planet isn't faring very well. And so I spoke to my dad on the way back, not understanding sarcasm at the time, and he said, yeah, we can do something.
But Harry was really upset. When I was a kid, I was scared of the dark, right? And we're all scared of things when you're a kid. But I genuinely want to stand here in front of you today and say that the kids are scared of the planet and what's going on and the animals, right? And Natalie made a great speech. Like, they're really petrified. And so what can us adults do? So the conversation started, didn't it? And we started chatting, and they're trying to teach me how to play Pokemon. But Harry was very persistent. I've got some ideas, Dad. I need to talk to you about some ideas. So I said to them, every idea should solve a problem. If you're going to go into business, it should solve a problem. So what's the problem we were trying to solve that you and your brother told me?
We're trying to solve the plastic waste problem, starting with plastic bottles. So 500 plus billion made each year, bottles. That's probably high now.
Yeah, I think it's double now. It's double,
yeah.
Which is terrifying.
And 1 million are sold a minute. So how long has this been going? Like 5 minutes? That's like 5 million bottles are sold. And only 7 to 12 of those are recycled. And the rest go to landfill or the ocean, which isn't great.
So that's pretty concerning, right? That's not cool. And I read a statement last week going down to Melbourne in a magazine on the plane, which was also carbon offset by Roger. Thank you, Roger. But it said that 40 to 50 billion bottles worth of microplastics every year go into the ocean thanks to the fashion industry. Like 40 to 50 billion bottles worth of plastic goes into the ocean. Like, that's not sustainable. Anyway, we sat there and I said, right, let's look at the skills you need, because this was just a bit of a fun dinner time conversation. There was no way in the world we were actually going to do this, right? But we did write down some things. We jotted them down, scribbling away: commercial recycling, plastic polymers. Harry said, there's a whole list there, I won't go through it, but Harry said, yeah, we need to talk to really important people on the phone. And you've got a phone, Dad, so you can talk to important people. And we need to know things like running an online business and how to create a brand. We kind of just did a little tally of what we could do and what we couldn't. We were obviously ocean cleanup experts because we were picking up rubbish near where we lived in Balmain. We could talk to people on the phone because I had a phone, and we could create a brand because Harry and I were getting pretty savvy on the old InDesign. So that was cool.
If we didn't have a phone, this business wouldn't be here.
It wouldn't be here, would it? So at this point, if we came to speak to you smart people in the room, you would all say, I wouldn't do this, I'd carry on with your day job. But we didn't. We did a daring moment. We sat there and my wife, Joss, was like, are we really going to do this? Are we really going to do this? And we agreed we were going to do it. And so we divvied up jobs. Harry and Archie, big-time YouTube fans, so that Archie was looking at how to do warehousing, how to do assembly. And Harry was pretty keen on TV appearances because they all want to be YouTube stars. So everything was dumped on me, and I'm just going, yeah, this is not going to happen. But the next night in a pizza restaurant, we talked about business plans because I was getting nagged by the kids. And I said to the kids, a business plan should not be complicated. And even to you guys, it shouldn't be complicated. And I know you're all super smart, but when we go bowling, on the side of the bowling ring, when mum's go happens, the little sides go up and they keep the ball going down straight and narrow till it hits the pins. I said, that's a business plan. So Harry, do you want to read through the guiding principles of good citizens?
So the number one is that we only use 100% recycled waste. And number two is that we design products to last, so you can repair them easily. No person nor the planet is harmed, as Natalie said. And the last one is that employees get to spend time with their kids or whatever family they have.
Which is pretty cool, right? Because at school, his friends were talking about mum and dad are so busy, they haven't got time to see us. So how great's that? And these guide every decision we make. And that is, I've presented this, I've been very fortunate to sit opposite some pretty key people in the fashion game, business world, venture capital world, of which we've self-funded this. But when I get this out as our business plan, they kind of go, oh, Jesus Christ, really? Have you not got a proper deck? And I'm like, no, this is it. Because if you can't stick to this, we can't continue the conversation. And things should be really simple. Why do we have to overcomplicate things? So I thought I'd break it up into the basic project, which is obviously turning a plastic bottle into a pair of sunnies. But we did 4 months of research, 9 months of design, and at the time it was 18 months of manufacturing trial and error. Josh said, let's put a T on it because it's terror. Every time something went wrong, we were just like deer in headlights. We had no idea what we were doing. The blue dots are serious wife talks. This is Josh talking me off at the edge of a cliff or picking me up off the floor because everything's going wrong. Harry and Archie asked me to write down every day.
Pretty much every single time that the spike drops, he cries.
I did. I've cried. Thanks, Harry. I have cried 5 times. He has seen me sitting there crying my eyes out. But this was my happiness. And, don't for a second think it's easy running a bloody startup. It's a nightmare. Week 1, I was 10 out of 10. Yes, we're going to do this. This was on the Monday morning. A week in, I realized lots of brands use the word recyclable, and I thought that was the same thing. Recycle means you grab something from a waste stream that was something before and you transform it into a new product. Recyclable means it could maybe find a new home, but it's made of a virgin or a brand new material. And brands will trick you and say, recyclable box. Well, yes, it's still made of brand new cardboard. It's not being recycled, right? So it's a very different thing.
Who's going to find it a new home? That's the thing.
Yeah, so once we'd negotiated this, then we were back up again. But I never got above 5 for just under 2 years in happiness. The kids wanted to know how much we were spending, so I told them that's how many Golf GTIs, plus on-road costs we could have bought for the whole process.
Well, how many's that?
13, I think we said we could have bought. So it was a very costly exercise, and we were basically all in. Like, we had a little pot of money that we had, and we basically spent everything we had.
11.
Do you want to talk through this slide? This brings tears to my eyes, this slide.
This is the time that our car went through 55 cries. Because it had half a ton of steel. Is it steel?
Yeah,
half a ton of steel put in the back of it, and its suspension is getting broken. How long's that? An hour? Half an hour trip?
It's an 11-hour round trip, and we had a machine made in Taiwan. We shipped it in, we plumbed it in, we made 10 pairs, and it didn't work. So we drove from Roselle to the Northern Beaches to Minto 55 times to this man with the welding machine. It was like an episode of the A-Team, literally bursting out of this guy's warehouse, hoping we'd cracked it. And we did 55 goes, and that car, don't buy it if you see it on car sales, because the axle's bent at the back and it squeaks. It's true, isn't it?
Every time that we come into the neighbourhood, people know because our car's squeaking.
But 55 goes, right? This is a typical Saturday morning, Harry and I in the factory, borrowing a factory, trying to make arms, and we failed over 2,500 times. And there were some pretty low moments. Poor Harry had to see Dad. He understood what body language is. He understood that trying to keep a brave face for Harry to say, yeah, we'll do this, we're getting there. And you're failing. But what kept us going, and I kept saying to Harry, Archie, it's this purpose, untrash the planet. Even if we fail now, we've at least learned 2,500 ways not to do it. And other brave soul will come along and we'll sit with them and have a coffee and explain all our failures. But he wouldn't let me fail. And his brother and him kept saying, keep going. So after 752 days, what happened, Harry?
We made the first pair of eyewear frames.
And he said, it took you 752 days, aren't we meant to be making a pair kind of every minute? And we do now. We can make a pair of eyewear frames every minute. And that's good for a lot of reasons. Good because it doesn't require a lot of labour. We've designed a system where him and his brother can make pairs. They, at work, just make up pairs, right? Doesn't use any energy, all the resources. If you buy a normal pair of eyewear frames, it's about 100 hours.
Food.
Yeah, it takes about 100 hours of of work and polishing and labour, cheap labour, and that's in every pair, right? So we've managed to get it down to a minute. Do you want to talk through the factory?
Yeah, so in the first picture, I'm measuring the arms to make sure that they're suitable. In the second one, my dad's, I don't even know what he's doing.
Well, we're like Lego, right? And so every piece has to fit on another piece. So we're modular. So a pair of glasses we made in 2018 has to fit on a pair of glasses that we're making today. So we've always tested. It's a very frightening moment, and it's recycled, 100% recycled plastic. So it's never consistent, right?
In the third picture, my brother's counting clips to make sure that they're all in the right, they have the right number of clips on them. So if there's 7, then we're going to need to find another one with 7. This is in the fourth one. That's our first robot. He's named Hugh after the first person who bought a pair of sunglasses. And now we have 2, and one's called Robin.
We don't know what Robin looks like, do we? Because
No.
she's got a cat on her Instagram picture, so we're not sure what she looks like as a person. It might be a cat that bought the second pair, but
Robin, yeah, she's named after the second robot.
So I'll talk about this, which is citizen power, right? Harry and I can't do it on our own. You can help us. Lots of people can help us. But it's connection through a common goal to untrash the planet. That's what this business is about. And everybody that buys, first person, he was called Hugh Morris. He'll hate me saying this. He lives in Sydney. Everybody that buys, we have a population counter, and it goes up. And you get this lovely welcome letter to say, you're now part of us, whether you like it or not. You can unsubscribe, but you probably won't, because you're part of our journey and we need you. But it's helping people make good decisions. And we get calls a lot from people saying, I bought your glasses. I run a company that makes homes, like thousands of homes a year. We're now more sustainable thanks to you. Or I've gone out and bought a Tesla because I bought a pair of glasses. It got me kind of thinking.
That's a big jump in price.
Yeah, it is a big... It is a very big jump in price. When I was Harry's age, I used to drive around with my granddad in his camper van, and I didn't understand this, but I understood it. I understand it now. If a van came towards us, he'd flash his lights. If they flashed back, he'd get really happy, right? And there's this little moment of joy. So as kids, we understood that if you see like a Mini or a Citroen car or this van driving towards you, you're in the same club. So what we wanted to do was set up a pair of glasses with inbuilt joy, and that's what this stripe is on my glasses. This little stripe here is our visual signifier. It says to the world that you're a good citizen, and it's also our modular setup, right? So there's all these design intricacies into this, but I think connection is important. So inbuilt joy in a product is marvelous. Most recycled products are black, aren't they, Harry? They cover up with black ink, and they cover up all the nasties in there. We went the absolute opposite end and made bright, colourful, recycled glasses, right? So you can swap out your colours and you can match your outfit. This makes me really laugh because this was
alcohol.
It was alcohol, wasn't it? This guy was pretty smashed. He wrote to us and said, I've broken arm, I need it replacing. So I thought it was quite an abrupt, rude email. So I wrote back going, how did it happen, mate? And he said he was stood rather drunk on a beach ball and face planted the pool and got the record for 8 seconds. Anyway, we sent him a new right arm.
It says 9.
Oh, is it 9? 9 seconds.
You can't forget the extra second.
Nah, 9, yeah.
That could have won in the record.
Yeah, Drew was a 9-second man on a beach ball. He fixed his arm and he was super happy. So what I say to people is, be open. Right? We've had like 40 repairs. Over half have involved alcohol and people not knowing how to have broken them. But when they come back and you have another interaction, right, most brands would hate that. We love it because they fall back in love with you. Do you want to talk them quickly through because we're running out of time on this?
Yeah. In the first picture, that's our first employee. Yeah. That's our first employee, and I'm interviewing him. And the fact is that I'm closer to him in age than my dad is. And even standing on a milk crate, he's taller than me.
But how cool is that, right?
Imagine being interviewed by a 10-year-old at the time.
But it's great. Like, why can't we give control of the business to the kids? And Marcus was fantastic. On the right was, we couldn't get the plastic to continue in the mold, and this took a long time. But when we told all the customers that we were failing, when we got it right, it meant something, and they came and bought. We've had some terrible low moments, but we've also had some brilliant high moments. Anyone heard of Selfridges? put a hand up yet? So quickly, I was in the UK visiting my parents, and an email came in from a man that runs the eyewear industry asking if I was free to meet in London. And I met him, and we met at Selfridges. And as the general manager of Selfridges was walking past, I had my business plan, that bigger pizza paper and a plastic bottle, and they asked what the story was, and I told them. And at the bottom of that picture, you can see all the windows. They're windows that all the brands in the world want to get, right? And you get them for 3 months, and 3 months of the year is Christmas, so there's 9 months left where these 3 brands can have that window. Selfridges gave us a window, right? And not only that, they booted Gucci out of their inside area, and they put us next to Prada. Right, this is insane. And at this point, we were about failure 2,250. We actually hadn't made a pair, but we backed ourselves and accepted the deal. We accepted the window, we accepted the 3-month contract, and we signed on the dotted line, but we had no product. So you've got to take risks, right? And this is the busiest street in London, Oxford Street, but you can see no one's there because sadly COVID hit. So the most famous window in the world, in one of the most famous stores in the world, never got saw because of COVID. And we never flew back for the media launch of our brand next to Prada. Don't know what might have happened. You know, we might have been stood here today in matching gold suits. Who knows? Sustainable gold suits. But we were gutted, weren't we? We couldn't go back. Absolutely gutted. But that's just, you have to roll with the punches. Do you want to talk about this picture?
Yeah, this is, am I allowed to call him by his nickname?
You can, it's up to you.
This is us meeting ScoMo. Me and my brother were explaining the business idea and meeting him. The lady in the back looks like she's doing some politics.
Yeah, she's a security detail. What was really nice in this picture for me as a dad was I should have been doing the talking. And he came up to me and shook my hand. And then Harry just went straight in, and for 20 minutes, him and his brother told him what we should be doing in this country about recycling, all right, and how we should be famous for recycling and doing really good design. One thing I do, and I did it yesterday at UNSW, and I did 4 masterclasses last week at the Powerhouse to a load of kids, students. Harry and I and Archie get to talk to education departments, like big universities. We're talking about fashion. We get to tell our story, and we only found out last week that UNSW uses our company as the curriculum guide for the last 3 years of how best practice to do design. We've made all this up. We have no idea, but it's apparently best practice. This is amazing. This is the 6th time I've cried. This is Sean. So last week we outsourced we used to do all our dispatching at home, from our office. And now Sean and the team at Avenue dispatch. These are people that struggle to get a job, and now they are a dispatch centre. As I stand on stage right now, they are in Forestfield dispatching yesterday's orders, and they've not missed an order, and they're awesome. And Harry hasn't been in yet with his brother. It's quite a confronting place. But we are going to go in, and we're going to meet the team, and they're amazing, right? So you've got to give people a chance. And we're in a position that we can make good decisions, and this is a bloody good decision. We've had some media exposure. It's been a bit daunting, hasn't it, sometimes? Harry was on the front page of the Sydney Morning Herald, mortified as a parent to see that, because we thought it was a little article. But our story helps tell you and show you that good things can happen if you just take a bit of action. Harry and I have spoke at the United Nations, which was...
Sadly, we didn't get to go to New York, but we got to go to a Zoom. And it was... I kind of wish we did go to New York, because on the Zoom, we forgot to turn our camera off, and something happened. We were, for like...
He got me in a headlock, and this is on the United Nations website.
For like 30 minutes, we were just whacking each other on the head with plastic bottles. So now, if you go to the website, you can click on the link, and you can see us.
But what was funny for us, and it was quite a cocky moment, I went up to the school office and I said, can you write down on this bit of paper the reason he's coming out of school? And I just put a little box in it that said, speaking at the UN, tick. By default, it's pretty weird, we've become Australia's most awarded eyewear brand because no one's doing anything different. And yes, we have worked hard, and yes, we've really focused on the things that matter. But we have picked up a tremendous amount of awards of which we've never paid for. We've always been invited to enter. And we're really chuffed that we've won because we've beaten people with trash. Right? And again, it's all part of our education process. Little request from Harry.
You guys are all very important people. Unlike me and my brother, you guys can make big change if you just change a simple thing in your business to help the planet and the environment that we all live in. It's not, it wouldn't, I bet it would be hard, but you could, just a little thing could really go a long way because you guys all run very big businesses.
So, I pressed the wrong button.
As well, my dad, or old man here, isn't very good at social media. So if you could just help us out and give him a little self-boost of confidence by following us or just liking a post, that'd be great. And one request, can I have some free media? I'm being serious. I'm being serious, can I? Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to talk about this. I just want to say thanks for your time, Media Legends. Honestly, I think it's our generation to inspire his generation and the next thinkers, right?